Mrs. Holstein. It's a conversation between two little Scottish boys standing on a street corner in ancient Rome," he began. The air in the room became very still. All eyes were on Finn. He continued nervously. "The first boy says, 'Hey Willie, there go 40 buses in a row.'" Hadley's mouth opened in horror, disbelief and amusement as her friend blundered on. And his friend replies, "Nay Willie, they's no buses, they's trucks." The room erupted in laughter that was cut short by Mrs. Holstein's icy voice. "I can only assume that you find it amusing to be the class clown and to keep other students from learning. This entire lesson has been ruined. I shall be sending home a note to your parents, McDougall, and you will report back to this room at the end of the school day to do an hour of detention. Class dismissed." The moment Finn got outside the class and away from the crowd, he plunged his hand into his backpack, ready to wring Wullie's neck. But Wullie had turned to rock and refused to come back to life. Finn was furious. "Come on, you little Scottish coward! Speak to me! I need to give you a piece of my mind. You're a mean little garden gnome. Maybe now you really are petrified." But no amount of taunting or insults brought Wullie back to life. Finn began to get worried. The rock looked different somehow. It really looked more and more like a lifeless rock than ever. It seemed icy cold. And was it Finn's imagination, or had it lost some weight? The rock seemed a little thinner around the middle. The rest of Finn's school day was filled with mixed emotions. Hadley quickly forgave him when he explained that everything in Latin class had been Wullie's idea. The popular crowd made a point of letting Hadley and Finn know that they were ignoring them, which suited Hadley and Finn just fine. Drivelson and his goons left Finn alone. Word had spread of Finn's courageous assault on Mrs. Holstein's usually tedious Latin class. Several strangers from 7th and 8th grade patted Finn in the back as they passed him in the corridors. "Way to go, McDougall. I've been wanting to do something like that to the old cow for years." When the school bell rang at 3:15 p.m, Hadley wished Finn luck as she dashed off to basketball practice. Mrs. Holstein was waiting for him with a fresh cup of tea and some cookies. For herself, of course. She sat munching, slurping and reading for a full hour, while Finn had to translate into Latin, "I am a lazy student and a wicked little boy." He then had to write it out in Latin 100 times. "Discipulus ignavus et puerilus improbus sum. Discipulus ignavus et puerilus improbus sum. Discipulus ignavus et puerilus improbus sum." The hour dragged on. Finn's wrist and fingers ached, and his heart grew heavy worrying about Wullie. His thoughts drifted back over the day. The spectacular embarrassment of Alex Drivelson was quickly becoming a legend in the school corridors. Finn relived that moment and forgave Wullie his joke at Finn's expense. As he left the school, Finn tried apologising to the rock and pleading with Wullie to come back to life, but it didn't work. The rock looked more lifeless and unfamiliar than ever. The dark, empty street that he walked through on his way home seemed hostile. From the few front doors that opened as he passed, he heard angry voices and the smells of burnt food. The whole neighbourhood felt less safe and uncomfortable all of a sudden. It was a lonely and disheartened Finlay James Murray McDougall who walked home in the dark on his own at 5 o'clock. He was too miserable to notice that a large, black and expensive car with tinted glass windows was following slowly behind him at a discreet distance. The Dark Watcher was not pleased. Things were not going as planned. Bye.